Grandiflora Services is a full-service tree company. Grandiflora is actually the Latin name for the southern magnolia, grand flower. It was my mom's favorite tree, and when she died, I wanted to name my company in her honor.
Audio Jungle.
At Grandiflora Services, we adhere to the ANSI standards. ANSI stands for American National Standards Institute, and they write standards for all kinds of things, including tree care. And those are standards that we adhere to. You do two types of pruning to a tree: maintenance pruning or hazard reduction pruning. The ANSI standards for maintenance pruning is to address the dead, dying, diseased, broken, and fractured limbs. So he's going to go up there, and he made a good clean cut where a limb had broken, and then he was going out on the end of the branches and getting some dead wood that was out over the roof of the house. Another example of maintenance pruning in this case is where we're taking suckers off the trunk for aesthetic value, but also so that the grass underneath the tree can get more sunlight. Hazard reduction pruning is the removal of major dead limbs or broken limbs that has a specific target. In this case, the target were the potential kids playing on the playset underneath the tree that has the broken limbs. And so we're going to go up and we're going to get those big dead limbs or broken limbs out of that tree so that the limbs don't fall out, hit the playset, or even worse, hit a child while they're playing on the playset. A lot of times I'll have somebody call me and say, "Hey Ed, what's wrong with my tree?" And I'll come out and look at them and show the very small traces of sawdust. That is actually evidence of hardwood borers. And hardwood borers attack a tree that's under a lot of stress. That particular tree had been hit by lightning in the past. The borers have attacked the tree and it's survival of the fittest, to kill the weak to make room for the strong. In this particular case, this tree is most likely going to be succumbed to by the borers, and we're going to have to take it down next week. With the big pine, we looked at a tree that's been attacked by pine bark beetle, doing the same thing as the hardwood borers, but specifically to a pine tree. Pine trees will only be attacked by pine bark beetle. And in this particular case, this tree is still alive, technically, but it's also one that's going to have to be taken down next week because the pine beetles have basically killed the tree. The forest of Southeast Texas 100 years ago were made up of longleaf pines. It's a great tree to plant. When you lose a tree, I always recommend that you replant. And if you can, replant with a native species. There's a lot of guys out there that will willingly take your money to do your tree care. I would rather give you good information and know that when I walk away that you've been given solid information based on what your tree truly needs. But that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. It's kind of like the Lorax of Dr. Seuss, where he says, "We speak for the trees have no tongues."